Hello, this is Lynette Clement, the chief and editor of the Love Exquisite Magazine, which is available on loveexquisite.com. LOVEXQUISITE.com. And what I am doing is I am taking the time to create an audio component of some of the articles that is in the Love Exquisite Magazine. We have a wealth of information about sports. Thank you, Danette Clement, for our sports section. We have wonderful contributors who write some of the magazines for our online free publication, the Love Exquisite Magazine. We cover business matters, we cover relationships, we cover beauty, fashion, makeup tips, and this is the November 2019 issue of the Love Exquisite Magazine, where under the empowering moment, we bring you a word of the month each month. So for the November issue of 2019, the word of the month was change. So I am going to read from that article. So change is not always something that everyone is so open to embrace. A lot of times people say, love me for who I am, or accept me for who I am, or I am who I am, or I always been this way and nobody gonna change who I am. Well, if you are not changing, if you have not changed for the better, I don't know how that has been working for you, because in life, in effort to adapt to the ever-changing world around us, we don't have a choice but to change some of our ways, some of our actions, some of our behaviors for the better. So change doesn't mean conform. So I guess it's all a matter of how you interpret or describe the meaning of that word change. Change is not always a bad thing. So if you look at it as something bad, then of course I could see why some would be resistant to change. But change is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's what we need in order to grow and progress. So check out the Love Exquisite Magazine. Subscribe to the Love Exquisite Magazine through the loveexquisite.com website. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel, to the Lynette Clement YouTube channel, and spread the word so that others can subscribe as well. So again, this is the November 19th issue of the Love Exquisite Magazine, which I will be reading from the empowering section, the word of the month called change. This month, which is the November 19th issue, our word of the month is change. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines change as to make different, to make radically different, to transform, to give a different position or course or direction to replace with another, to make a shift from one to another, to undergo modification, and so on, to make a transformation, and so on and so on. In life, we should always be in a state of changing, because our world changes around us and we have to adapt to our changing world. When we are children, the way in which we think and behave is different from the way in which we think and behave as adults, or at least it should. When we are children, we think about playing with toys and our friends and watching our favorite cartoon or television show and being nurtured and fed, sleeping and eating and learning how our different ways of development are happening and how we learn and grow into our teenage years. As we develop into teenagers, we begin to think differently than how we thought as children. Well, at least we should. And our behaviors are more mature. And as teens, we tend to think about our appearances more, what we wear, what schools will we attend, who we hang with, what we do, how we will develop into adulthood. And when we become adults, our thoughts and behaviors shift from how we thought as teens as well as how we thought as children. Well, at least it should. To now thinking about adulting, which is not always easy for some. As adults, We think about how we will take care of ourselves, how we will take care of our families, where we will live, what we will do with the rest of our lives, what is our purpose in life, and who we want to share our life with, how we pay bills, and what will we do with the rest of our time in our lives. This is all a part of transitioning from childhood to adulthood, which ultimately means change. Going through these stages of change can be uncomfortable and it can be scary, especially if we still think and behave childlike. However, change is necessary for growth. As the Bible states in 1 Corinthians 13 and 11, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. That is the King James Version, and the source was BibleGateway.com. As we get older, we have to evolve. Life is not about staying the same. Life is about growing and evolving into the person that God has created you to be. Embracing change comes with maturity. We have to adapt to the changing world around us, whether we like to change or not. This adaptation is actually change, whether we want to admit it or not. Our life experiences will teach us that change is inevitable. As we lose friends, jobs, loved ones, time, money, etc., we have to adapt to those life events and make the necessary adjustments in our lives in effort to be able to function, survive, and thrive. Our lives can change in an instant, so we have to constantly be ready and willing to adapt to our changing environment. If you lose a job, you cannot focus on the job loss so much that it immobilizes you from applying for other job opportunities. You have to make the necessary adjustments mentally so that you can move forward into your new job. If you lose a spouse, you cannot dwell in the loss of that spouse. You have to adjust your mindset and find a way to continue to live past the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, and move on to dating again eventually and healing. If you lose a friend, you cannot close up the possibility of meeting new friends. You have to be open to meeting new people. If you lose money, you cannot become so closed-minded and tight-fisted that it prevents you from thinking about new ways of making new revenue, more money. If you lose time because you are dwelling in any of those places of loss, you have to remember that time is one thing that you do not get back, ever. Time you do not get back. So you have to make the necessary adjustments to make the best out of the time that you have now. Life is all about making adjustments, changes to you and to the places, to yourself, and the places where you are at peace. And so that you can experience real love and real joy again. Because the world again is constantly changing around us. It is impossible to remain the same and still be in a real place of peace, in a real place of love, and in a real place of joy if we do not adapt to life changes. So be open to changing whatever is necessary for your growth. To do so, you have to be willing to give up old things, old behaviors, and old ways of thinking that is preventing you from growing and developing your good character. This means that you have to die to self, which is a metaphor in Mark 8:35, in effort to live life in a more meaningful way. So it doesn't mean to physically die. It just means to give up old ways and old ways of thinking so that you can develop new, more improved ways of doing things and thinking and journaling through life. Journeying through life, I should say. And you're on your journey through life. For those of you who hear my Philadelphia accent, which sounds country at times, but that's okay. I adapt to that change. So again, back to remaining the same. Continuation to what I was saying. This is about changing. Remaining the same will produce the same results. It is okay to change. It doesn't mean that you're selling out, you're being phony, not being true to yourself. It just means that you're evolving into a better you. Now, don't change and revert to someone who is mean and negative if that's not who you really are, who you truly are. If you're a nice person and life happened to you and you feel like, oh, heck with everybody and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because I want revenge. That is not the way to change. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. So just make sure that you're doing positive things in life with your time and with your life. It is not beneficial to anyone to revert to somebody who's negative. So change means to be better. To change is to be better, not to be worse. So I just want to make sure that I reiterate that when I'm talking about change. It's not changing who you are to be someone who you're not, and is not changing you from being good to being bad. It's about changing from bad to good. Okay, so I'm going to get back. So it's okay to change. It doesn't mean that you're selling out, you're being phony, or that you're not being true to yourself. It just means that you're evolving into a better you. So you often hear people that do not embrace change state, I am who I am. Accept me as I am. Don't try to change me. However, let's take a deeper look at what that really means by answering these questions honestly. Who are you? Yeah. How do you treat people? How do you treat people? Are you really genuine? Are you really nice? Or are you mean? And are you a deceptive? Are you a liar? Are you a cheater? Are you even-tempered? Or are you someone who always on a defense and ready to attack? Are you unaccountable for your actions and behaviors? Who are you? Not who is anybody else, but who are you? And how do you treat people? Answer those questions honestly. What do you stand for? And are you really satisfied with that description of yourself? Are you really? Take a minute and think about that. If you answer those questions honestly, and you are good with your character and who you are at this current state, then you have already arrived. No need for you to change unless it is necessary for your continued growth. But on the contrary, if you are not satisfied with how you honestly answered those questions, please do not fear change. Embrace it. Change just might save you from making the same mistakes that you've always made in life. And you will be well on your way of being a better person. So change. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're conforming. It means that you're adapting. You're evolving because you want better for you and the people around you. Change is necessary for growth. And I'll leave you with Mark 8:35. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. This is in the November issue of the Love Exquisite Magazine, written by Lynette Clement. So there's a lot of different articles in the Love Exquisite Magazine that you will find empowering, inspirational, motivational, and just a wealth of knowledge that is shared by myself as well as our contributing writers. So make sure that you check out the Love Exquisite Magazine on loveexquisite.com. Thank you. This is in the November 2019 issue. It's in the empowerment section, the empowering moment. The word of the month was change. Thank you. Subscribe.